Frequent flyer flies, la 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 la. Frequent flyer is back.
What's up? You checking out the Frequent Flyer. Welcome back to the channel. Smash the like button to show your support. That helps others find the channel and the content that I upload. And if you're new to the channel, I like to extend a warm welcome. Today we're going to take a look at the CyberRex micro drone for beginners. And this thing is it's a rather unique design. Check it out. This is how the battery gets put in this thing. The battery bay is on the top. The top just pops off and snaps back on. And also, I was worried that this thing was going to have a short flight time because of the props that are on it. This has quad blades and all, and they're kind of small compared to the normal props that are usually found on these micro drones. But I was quite surprised that this thing actually gives me about 5 minutes of flight. It's close to 5 minutes, and these prop guards actually don't come off, so that's with the prop guards on it. This is marketed as a beginner's drone, and I think it actually suffices as a beginner's drone. These prop guards do work. It helps with bumping against walls and stuff like that. It protects the props from that, from stopping, and you'll stay in the air, most likely if you tap a wall or whatnot. And also it has these little feet on it to protect the motors on the bottom from landings, I guess, abrupt landings. And also this thing is protected against the ceiling too. It doesn't get suctioned up on the top of the ceiling because this top here sticks up a little more than the props, so it protrudes past the props, so you don't get that suction effect when you hit the ceiling with it. Flies nicely outdoors, and you know it flies good indoors if it flies nicely outdoors because there's no wind or anything. But this thing can get going pretty fast in its mid-rate and its third rate. It's actually ideal for an intermediate flyer, expert flyers as well, or advanced flyers, I like to say. This thing does have altitude hold, and you can't turn it off. It has a really nice yaw rate. The yaw rate is nice and fast, so you can do some nice looking funnels. It doesn't hold the pitch very deep when it's doing funnels, but it does spin around pretty fast. It can spin around on one motor pod. It does pitch really deep when you're flying fast forward when you have this thing in third rate. The second rate, the pitch isn't too bad either. It's pretty quick in the second and third rate. The first rate is kind of slow. I guess that's the rate that they're expecting for beginners to fly on. But me personally, I don't like those really slow rates where it doesn't pitch that much, because you can build up some speed after pressing one direction for a while, but then it's hard to correct. You can't really stop the momentum of this thing when it starts moving fast, or any other quadcopter for that matter that doesn't pitch really well. And so you need that extra pitch to be able to put on air brakes, I like to call them. And so I don't really like the really slow rates. I like the mid rates on this thing, and the high rates is really nice too. The yaw rate seems like it stays constant. In other words, the yaw rate doesn't change. It doesn't appear to change to me anyhow. Just the pitch changes, but the yaw rate in every rate is really nice. It's a speedy yaw rate. Now the yaw and pitch isn't perfectly matched together, but it is good enough to do some nice flying and all, and do some nice funnels. And this thing is just a blast. It's a line of sight flyer. There's no camera or anything on it, and so it is stabilized as well. Perfect for beginners. It does I guess skip out on teaching you guys throttle management. It's there a little bit, but for the most part this thing stays in the air by itself with the pressure sensor from the altitude hold. And it's just a nice flyer though. No LED lights on it though, except for in the front. There's one indicator light that flashes in the front to let you know what it's doing and all, what mode it's in and stuff like that. You can tell when it's recalibrating. That one light will flash in the front. Let me turn it on. Hopefully you guys can see that single light in the front. So that light actually flashes to indicate what's going on with the drone. And so when you put this thing in headless mode, it starts to flash to let you know that you're in headless mode. It flashes for LVC. It flashes rapidly for recalibration. And it actually flashes when you're flying fast forward and doing funnels too. For some reason, it'll flash, and it kind of confuses you to make you think that it's LVC sometimes, but it's not LVC. It'll still flip, and that's how I know that it's not LVC. Once LVC kicks in, this thing stops flipping, as does most of these little micro drones. And this thing is just a blast to fly though. It has these removable sticks here on it, but there's no extra sticks that I've seen to come with it. This is all it comes with here. It comes with a charger cable for the batteries, a little blue screwdriver. Pretty nice. And these props are rather unique for these type of flyers here. These actually look identical to these beta FPV props. I did get curious to see if these fit on here, and they don't. The shaft must be a little wider to fit these. These just spin around loosely. It doesn't really fit tight on this little drone here, but they do look exactly the same dimensions, same type of shape and everything. So I thought that was interesting. Oh, it does come with 3 batteries too, and it does have this PH 2.0 style connection on it. The 300 milliamp hour battery, although it does look like they're a little larger, because I have some 300 milliamp hours that are a lot smaller, appear to be a lot smaller, like these here. This is a 300 milliamp hour battery. But anyhow, it does come with 3 batteries. One is already installed in the drone. It comes installed already. And there is an on and off switch on the bottom. So that's pretty neat that you have an on and off switch. It doesn't just power on once you plug the battery in. I was a little disappointed that these prop guards do not come off. They're not removable. When you take these prop guards off, the top of the motor cover comes off along with them. So in order to get this thing to not have prop guards, you're going to have to clip it right here. I'm thinking that it will fly a little longer without the prop guards, extra weight on it, weighing it down. But like I said, the 5 minutes isn't bad. For me, it isn't. I don't think that's a bad flight time. And so the transmitter is not bad at all. Pretty nice feeling transmitter. And it does have shoulder buttons that are clicky. Check it out. And so this button over here arms you for the flip. And this thing does have 3 rates. And this is the rates button here. It starts out in the first rate, and you press it one time, it'll go in the second and then third rate, and then it'll recycle back to the first rate. And this button up here is the headless mode button here. This on the bottom is to recalibrate it. You'll see the lights flash there. Well, the one light on the front flash when you hit that to recalibrate it. But you can recalibrate it by going, I think it's to the lower right corners, or it could be the lower left, but I think it's the lower right corners there to do the recalibration with the sticks here. And both sticks down and out starts the motors, and both sticks down and in stops the motors. And there's an auto takeoff and landing button. I think it's here, the auto takeoff and landing button. This button here is supposed to be the bind button, but I don't find that this button does anything. To bind the drone, once you turn it on, you just go up and down on this left stick here, and it'll bind the drone to the transmitter. The headless mode on this thing sets the heading at whichever direction the front is facing when you first turn this guy on. So it's pretty useful because you can turn it on, make sure you're facing it away from yourself when you turn it on. And then if you lose orientation, when you activate the headless mode, which is this top button here, once you hit this button here, it'll go into headless mode, and no matter which direction it's facing, when you pull back on the right stick, it'll come back towards you. And if you push away, you know, it'll go away and the left will be the left and the right will be the right and all. And you can do that all while this thing is in constant yaw. And so I call that useful headless mode because it actually helps you to bring the quad back in your direction if you lose orientation. But the trick is you have to make sure the front of the quad is facing away from you when you first turn this guy on. And so lastly, about these buttons on the transmitter, these buttons here are left and right trims, and this is forward and backwards trim. There is no yaw trim on this guy and no throttle trim, and so I guess they didn't think that we would need that. And this is the user's manual here. It's just a fold out here. Pretty legible English though. It's really small though. I don't know if you guys can see that. Black and white illustrations. Not bad at all. This guy's a nice flyer. So let's go check it out in an indoor flight. Check out my cat, y'all. He's sunbathing. Okay, so he came out of the window now. He's laying right there, lounging. He's probably going to move once I get this thing in the air. So let's fire it up. Just check it out. Really quiet. Check out the yaw rate. This is low rates too. This thing spins around on one motor pod. The pitch isn't very deep, but it's still nice that it has that fast yaw rate there. So this is side flying and low rates. This is forward flight, backwards flight, forward, backwards. Let me show you guys a flip. Oh, let's look at the yaw rate. So that's the yaw rate there. Let's look at the flips now, get them out the way while we're at full battery. I'm pressing the flip button, it's not doing any flips. Oh, so I guess you can't do flips on low rates. Let's go to second rate. Let's go to mid rate. See if we can do a flip. Okay, so we can do flips in mid rates. No flips in low rates. As you can see, the flips are kind of radical, a little wild. That was a front flip there. Let's do a left flip. Flip to the right. I'm surprised my cat is still there. So let's look at the yaw. That's the yaw speed on mid rates. This is the funnel. So the funnel doesn't look much different. Just a little faster, I guess. And it's side flying. This is side flying here. It's pretty sporty in mid rates. This is forward, backwards flight, forward flight. So this thing can really zip around on mid rates. So let's go to third rate. So when we're in third rates, let's check out the yaw. It's trying to climb up on me. Let's look at the yaw. So the yaw seems to stay the same, it looks like. The pitch just gradually gets deeper. There's that spin around on one motor pod on high rates. Looks almost the same. So this is side flying here. It's really fast. A lot faster. Oh! So that's proof that the prop guards do work. So let's try forward flight. This is backwards flight. Oh, don't hit the wall. So the pitch does get deeper when you're flying around with it, but once you apply yaw, it kind of loses some of the pitch. So it doesn't do a deep funnel, but it does do a deep enough funnel for it to look kind of cool. And it does have a fast enough yaw rate to do a nice funnel. And so this thing is a pretty agile little quadcopter here. So intermediate flyers can have fun with this, as well as advanced flyers. It gets fast enough. And so I guess now we're just going to check out the headless mode. Go to headless. I think headless is the bottom one. Okay, nope, that wasn't it. Okay, so it's the top one. Where you should be in headless mode now. Oh, so I guess let's see. We're going to come out of it. I think headless mode keeps the direction that you're in when you first turn it on. So it's a true headless mode. A useful headless mode is what I call them. So let's see. Let's try that again. Yep. Because when I press forward, it comes back towards me. So we're coming out of headless mode because I didn't have it facing the correct direction. But it does work. So let's just fly it around until it dies. Let's do a flip. So the front light tends to flash around when you're flying fast. It's not necessarily the LVC or anything. It just flashes when you're flying around fast, when you're doing yaw. Because it'll still do a flip. Oh, I think it's really in LVC now, so it should continuously flash. And it landed itself. So that's the flight time you get with it. A pretty unique looking flyer. And it does fly pretty nice. Not bad at all. Nice for beginners as well on low rates and mid rates. I think mid rates is probably better for beginners because I think when it's too slow on the pitch and all, it stops you from getting out of trouble. Once you get in trouble, it's hard to stop the direction momentum that it's going in. But for the most part, pretty decent flyer. I'm happy with it. I think it's awesome. I think it's a go. Thanks for watching.